Hi guys, welcome to part 8 of my review of the Space Wolves Codex. This will be the final part. We'll be discussing flyers and having a quick look at the Armoury of the Fang. I'll just quickly open the book to the right page because I foolishly closed it to show you the front cover. Here we go. Flyers. We've got several options here, 3 in fact, which is nice. It's more than the Space Wolves used to have. We've got the Stormfang gunship, is the first flyer we're presented with. It is a 14 wound model, which is not bad, particularly for a flyer. It's got a movement 20 to 50 inches with a ballistic skill 3 at its top rank of wounds, 20 to 35 ballistic skill 4. And then 20 inches, ballistic skill 5. It's fairly solid, fairly good. It's a single model equipped with a Hellfrost Destructor and twin heavy bolters and 2 Storm Strike missile launchers. Something more there. War gear options. This model may replace its twin heavy bolter with 2 twin multi-melters or a Skyhammer missile launcher. This model may replace its Storm Strike missile launcher with 2 las cannons. Gives you a good amount of options there, so you can really hammer home what you want to hammer home and adapt it towards your enemy. A lot of people are now magnetizing these models just to get the right amount of variance, primarily because they're not a cheap model. They're a reasonable price for the amount of plastic you get and the amount of damage it does, but magnetization does save you quite a bit of money in the long run. Abilities: crash and burn. If a model is reduced to if this model is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6 before removing from the battlefield. It's basically the explosion we've seen previously. It crashed in a fire explosion, and before any embarked models disembark. On a 6, it crashed in a fire explosion, and each unit within 6 inches suffers d6 mortal wounds. That's quite nasty right there. Hoverjet. Before this model moves in your movement phase, you can declare it will hover. Its movement characteristic becomes 20 inches until the end of the turn, and it loses the airborne hard to hit and supersonic abilities until the beginning of your next movement phase. Those are abilities that all flyers have, and you want to be careful when considering to do that. Parallel Machine Spirit. This model can move and fire heavy weapons without penalty to its hit rolls. Airborne. This model cannot charge. This model cannot charge. Can only be charged. That's not very well written. Oh, this model cannot charge, can only be charged by units that fly. That doesn't quite work as a sentence, guys. And can only attack or be attacked in the fight phase by units that can fly. There's a lot more units that can fly these days, and them having extended the flight rule to jump packs and a lot of hover troops does mean that, frankly, it's not as brilliant defense as it used to be. Then again, it used to be a bit too good. Hard to hit. Your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target this model in the shooting phase. Again, that's what keeps it defended. Supersonic. Each time this model moves, it must first pivot on the spot up to 90 degrees. This does not contribute to how far the model moves. And then the model moves straight forwards. Note, it cannot pivot again after the initial pivot. When this model advances, it increases the move characteristics by 20 until the end of the phase. Do not roll a hit dice. Basically, you're going in straight lines very, very far. The advance means you've got a movement of potentially 70 inches, which will get you pretty much anywhere you want on the board, doing pretty much anything you want. So that's cool. I'm going to bounce out of order here because I want to do the Storm Fang, then the Storm Wolf, because they're essentially on the same chassis. Storm Wolf, same movement characteristics and ballistic characteristics. Storm Wolf is a single model with 2 las cannons and 2 twin heavy bolters and a Hellfrost cannon. Oh, Crash and Burn we just covered. Hoverjet, Power of the Machine Spirit, Airborne Hardjet and Supersonic we all just covered. War gear options, this model may replace its twin heavy bolters with 2 twin multi-bolters or a Skyhammer missile launcher. Right, now I'm just going to compare the difference between these two models. Well, the difference. Your Stormfang gunship has your Hellfrost Destructor, which is a massive Hellfrost cannon. When attacking, choose one of the 2 profiles. You've got Heavy, 3d3, with a Strength 6, AP -2 and 2 damage, or Heavy 3, with a Strength 8, -4 and AP and D6 damage. But it has, this model can transport 6 models. It cannot transport Primaris, and Terminators and Jump Packs take up twice, and Wolfen take up twice the space. Whereas your Storm Wolf has space for 16, again, almost purpose-built for that Blood or Death Star. Again, cannot transport Primaris, that's a shame, but we were expecting that. And Terminators, Jump Packs and Wolfen take up twice the space. So one is really a gunship, the other is really aimed at transport. So yeah, that's where you're going to use them. Now, sitting between these 2 models, nestled beautifully as it were, is the Stormhawk Interceptor. The Stormhawk Interceptor is a fantastic little ship and not one we previously had access to. Bear me. Here's mine. You know, it's a purple. That's because I play Shadow Wolves, but I do it using the Space Wolves Codex. They're not technically a Space Wolf chapter, but frankly, I love the colour scheme. It's really it. The Stormhawk Interceptor is a single model equipped with 2 assault cannons, 2 heavy bolters, and an Icarus Storm Cannon. Now, it's filling a place in the Space Wolf Codex that wasn't filled before. They had a gunship that could perform air-to-air, but was primarily really good at taking out ground targets and a transport. And the Stormhawk Interceptor is an air-to-air combat vehicle. It's what you want to be taking if you're going to be dealing with other flyers. War gear options. This model may replace 2 heavy bolters with a Skyhammer missile launcher or a Typhoon missile launcher. This model may replace its Icarus Storm Cannon with a Las Talon. The Icarus Storm Cannon and the Las Talon, both very good weapons, both very good against flying targets. Let's have a look. Sorry, tell a lie. The Las Talon is normal. It's the Icarus Storm Cannon, which is your anti-flying one, which is why you can see that I've equipped it to mine. Airborne, which we've just done. Crash and Burn, we've just done. Interceptor, you can add 1 to hit rolls for this model when targeting an enemy in the shooting phase that can fly, meaning it's gonna hit. Now, when you add Interceptor to the Icarus Storm Cannon, you're adding +2 to hit flying models. The Las Talon, the Interceptor has cancelled out the negativity you would normally take from the Las Cannon, so you can still hit flying models with it, just as well you'd be able to hit anything else. But the combination of those 2 really make it a nasty, nasty little anti-aircraft thing. Your Skyhammer missile launcher also takes those. I opted to go for the bolters myself, again, as you can see if you look in there, just because I wanted a bit of variance for it to be able to take out ground targets. You've also got the supersonic and the hard to hit. You've got the Halo, the Infernum Halo launcher. You can re-roll all saves of 1 for this model. Again, it's basically a smoke. It's basically a smoke launcher. Only, unlike most smoke launchers, you can fire it when you fire other weapons. Those are your flyers. We're moving on now to the Space Wolves Armoury. This is basically a long list of weapons. I am not going to read them all out. Just going to quickly go through and give you a taste of each section. Right, the range weaponry. Obviously, you've got all the stuff that your standard Space Wolf can take, and a few extras like the Absorber pistols in there, the auto bolt rifles in there, your combi flame gun and combi weapons, and all their stats are also in there. Covering 3 pages, 1, 2 and 3, and some lovely pictures there of some Space Wolf weaponry. Oh, sorry. 4 pages. Then you've got your melee weapons list, which is nice and long as well. Obviously, your range weapon list is going to cover things like your Terminator weapons. Yeah, you got your Reaper autocannon and your Predator cannon there. And yeah, again, you got your Stormfrag missile launchers and all your weaponries and all your stats in the back there. You got your melee weapon list, which again, it's a list of all your melee weaponry. It's worth noting these aren't the lists you choose from. These are index lists so that you can find what it is you've attached to the model. So you've got your Frost Fang, your Frost Sword, and all your things like that in your melee weapons list. Just going to go through a few bits and pieces. You know, you've got your stratagems there. Your stratagems are very nice. You've got Orbital Bombardment, Wisdom of the Ancients, Kill Shot, Frac Missiles, Trophies of Fenris. All cool little rules. For example, Cunning of the Wolf. This uses stratagem during deployment. When setting up a Space Wolf infantry unit, you can set up this unit on the hunt instead of placing it on the battlefield. At the end of any movement phase, it can join the battle, so it's holding the 6 inches of battlefield edge. Basically, you can make any unit a scout unit, which is frankly a fantastic way of outflanking. We've got page after page of amazing strategies. I highly recommend you buy this book, it's totally worth it. You've got your Warlord traits and your Relics of the Fang. There you start getting a list to tell you what you can take from. So obviously your badasses can take Relics from the Fang. You know, your page Q choices. You got your Tempest powers, which are also available to your Psychic, your Living Lightning, your Tempest Wrath, your Stormcaller, and of course Jaws of the World Wolf. I'm just going to show this. There's a Warp Charge of 7. If manifested, select any with an 18 of the Psyker other than vehicle. Roll a 2d6 and subtract the target's movement characteristic. The unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the result. That is so much better than the previous Wars of the World Wolf. Wars of the World Wolf, if you don't know, in 3rd Ed was considered one of the nastiest psychic powers around. It just removed people from the battlefield without a save. They damped it down for 6th and 7th Ed to the point where it didn't make any sense. You were only ever going to use it against characters, and characters were going to save against it because it would remove a single model from the battlefield based on based on an initiative roll. It was great against a few targets, and that was it. This Jaws of the World was very nice. We've got our tactical objectives, and here we've got our points values for all our all our guys and all our weaponry, and it sorts them into the relevant lists so that when you're taking weaponry, these are the lists that you're going to be using. You know, you've got your melee weapons, your range weapons, your other war gear and various bits and pieces. These are the ones that are going to tell you how much you're spending. And that's really cool. There is an additional part in this, in addition to the Warlord traits, there were additional sagas which you can download off of Games Workshop's website. I had it, but my 2-year-old appears to have chewed it up, so I'm going to pause the video and quickly look them up. I'm back, guys. Right, there is a Warlord trait set in the book. However, it is not actually the correct one. The correct one is available as a download. If you go to the Games Workshop website, go to the section that has the Space Wolves Codex, you'll see the fully written one, which is far, far better and cooler. You can see here, you have a bit of fluff and each Warlord trait. there is an additional piece of text on the site. Apparently, all the non-English copies of Space Wolves got it. The English one, the guy turned up and claimed that a Bloodclaw ate his homework. Likely excuse if you ask me. But you have what's known as a Deed of Legend attached to each of the Warlord traits. Like other Warlord traits, Space Wolf Sagas represent a powerful advantage and is active on your Warlord at all times. However, unlike other Warlord traits, at the end of a phase in which a Warlord performs a Deed of Legend, as detailed in the saga also affects friendly Space Wolf units while they are within 6 inches of your Warlord. This effect lasts for the rest of the battle. Just to give you an example, Saga of the Warrior Born, you get to choose you get to choose in the fight phase, if a unit's affected by this saga, whether or not they fight first, even if they didn't charge. So someone charges your Wolf Lord and he has Saga of the Warrior Born, he can still fight first. If he has performed his Deed of Legend, slay an enemy character with your Warlord, any unit within 6 inches of him also gets to choose whether or not they fight first. And this effect lasts for the rest of the battle. That is amazing. I can really see potential for it to be a little OP and a little meta. I'm not sure how long it'll last, if it'll last. However, again, you've got to do something to earn it. And it'll only affect units within 6 inches. The chances of you being able to do it multiple times are reasonably slim, but still entirely possible. So we'll have to see how that plays out, but it is amazing. If you go to any of your games workshops, most of them have a stack of these printed out that they've been handing out with codexes. If they don't, I'm sure you can ask them to print one out if you don't have a printer or access to a computer. Okie dokie. Well, that's the end of my review of the Space Wolf Codex. All in all, a mixed bag. There are some bits which I really would have liked to have seen carried over, but I understand why they weren't. And there are a lot of bits in there which are very nice, very good, and I look forward to trying out as my game progresses, as my force progresses, and as my battles progress. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Or you can head over to my Patreon page and support me directly. Remember, it's your support that allows me to do this. Until next time, see you around.